We finally get the information that I have been wanting since AI Alicization has started. After episode 1, when Kirto got stabbed by that member of Laughing Coffin, and immediately, it's episode 2, 3, and 4, it's just been a confusion throughout all the series. I've been saying that throughout all my anime reviews for SEO on this channel. But with episodes 5 and 6, it kind of clears that all up. It gives us the connections where SEO is actually going, why the Underworld was actually built, who was the one that created it, is Asuna in the game alright in the real world. So finally we get that information. I'm so glad. I didn't want that to drag on. I'm glad that we got it right away, just because it's going to focus on why we care about the Underworld, why is Kirto actually in it, and where the story is going to take place. So here we are finally, and now let's begin. So today I'm going to be covering episodes 5 and 6 for Alicization. Episode 6 actually just dropped on this Saturday, while episode 5 came out last week. I know I'm late on it, but it's actually kind of glad I'm going to be talking about these two episodes because they actually do connect with the storyline of Alicization. So episode 5, I'll begin right there, and it actually just continues off of Kirto actually getting stabbed by the member of Laughing Coffin. That happened in episode 1. It's showing what happens in the real world right now, because Kirto right now is in the Underworld, training with Igyo, them going on their journey. Well, for example, Kirto right now is in the hospital. He's at a mental state that he cannot wake up. He's kind of in a coma right now because his physical body, his heart wasn't moving for 5 minutes. He can't do anything. And since he has such severe brain damage that right now Kirto is on the deathbed, he is just sleeping and that he cannot wake up. We actually get a little bit of cameos in this episode as well, which is really, really cool. That number one, we get to see Kirito's mom. We actually get to see parents of, Kirto and his little sister. Not really a lot of information, but it's still kind of cool to see her just because SEO has been going on right now, for season 1, season 2 of the movie, and now this. So it's cool to actually see a parent of Kazuto in this episode. Of course, we see Asuna as well, really worried about him, but we see kind of his journey right now in the real world as well. Not just in the virtual game right now, not just the Underworld, and the real world as well, because Kirto right now is at a stage where he can potentially die, and right now Rath wants to help him out. Of course, Kirto's work, he's been working with Rath. This is something that was introduced to us at the ending of Ordinal Skill. This is a project that Mr. Kukua has actually been doing. I might be saying his name wrong, I do apologize. He's the task force member that was helping Kirto and Sinon take down Death Gun in season 2, and it's been kind of in a variety of SEO episodes and seasons so far. So this is a character that, of course, that we know, but is he a shady character? Is he the next villain in the SEO franchise? Is this someone that's actually helping Kirto, or someone that's just using Kirto so he could do something evil? So Kirto has been on a journey right now that he's been taken to multiple places, and Rath is trying to hide, Asuna and the rest of the game for looking for Kirto, because they need Kirto for something important. They don't want anyone to find out his whereabouts or his information. So Asuna's journey right now is to find Kirto and make sure that he is alright. And this is actually kind of a throwback when you look at it back to Aincrad. This is, I guess, the second half of season 1 when Asuna was actually still sleeping while everyone was waking up after SEO was completed. Kirto's journey, of course, helping Asuna, trying to find her and get back into the real world. And now it's kind of Asuna's turn to help Kirto get back into the real world, because of course he's in that coma state and Rath taking him in, etc. like that. Another cool cameo that we actually see in this franchise is the Ordinal Skill, the object that is back from the movie. Of course, we've seen Klein, Sinon, and the others wearing it, trying to make sure to help Kirto. Maybe them using it, talking to Yui, will help them get information. So that's a little bit of a cool cameo right there. Now that's what I like about SAO, that the little details that you see from previous seasons actually go to the current season that you're on right now. So it's literally canon. You have to follow the storyline to get what is happening. Even though they're just using an object, it's still a pretty cool thing that the movie Ordinal Skill is important to this series, what we're on right now. So that's a little bit of a cool thing. We get introduced into a new character into this series, someone that's actually really important, which is Kojiro, if I'm saying her name correctly. This is a researcher that helped with Kayaba back in the day. This is a girl that had special connections with Kaiba. Of course, had a relationship with them, everything like that. This is Kaiba, the guy that actually created SAO, the one that trapped the kids inside a video game, that of course if you die in the game, you die in real life. So she's a pretty important character to Kaiba in the backstory of SAO. She kind of has these connections to maybe find Kirto, and that's why she worked with Austin in this episode, so that Austin of course can get into Rath, find out the secrets, why they actually took Kirto, and why they need him in the first place. So we see of course her character go more in depth, that of course she had a relationship back in the day with Kaiba. She didn't really know anything actually about SAO from the beginning. Kaiba was a really strange individual, but she didn't know that he would do such bad things like this, because watching this episode I actually thought that she'd actually be a villain, but she's actually a pretty heartwarming person, and someone that actually wants to help others. Asuna, for example, trying to find Kirto. So we get of course a new location. This is the location that Kirto is at right now, which is called Ocean's Turtle, I do believe it's called. A facility out in the middle of nowhere. It's out in the middle of the ocean, a big facility that they are hiding Kirto from and from the world to not know. Inside the building to find Kokoa, if I am saying his name correctly again. I'm sorry, I might be saying these names wrong, but SAO has a long roster of characters, and it's pretty hard to remember each individual's name. But we see him of course in this situation. He's been a month here working, trying to figure out the secrets of Alicization, everything like that. But actually what was really cool in this episode is that we see Asuna actually trick Rath to come into this facility, because we even see his reaction as well, that he is surprised that Asuna is there in the first place. And of course Asuna now finds the details of what they are doing here and what is going on with Kirto. So that's kind of the explanation for episode 5. It's a pretty cool scenario. It really gives depth of going into episode 6. But now let's jump into episode 6, because this just gets even crazier. Now we jump into episode 6 of the series, and all I could say throughout this was this episode was completely science. So I did a one take on this episode. I didn't watch it like multiple times. Like usually with anime, if it's like an episode for sorts, I'll like watch like the one episode to start, do my review, and then when it's close to like the next episode, like the next week coming up, I'll start to watch it like 2 to 3 times. So I'm doing this episode in one take right here. In this episode, it really focuses on how the Underworld was made, and it explains a lot throughout the series of what is actually happening. So if I do forget some stuff right here, I do apologize. If you guys watched it a whole lot, or maybe even watched it once and know what's all going down, or if there's any manga or light novel readers in here, please tell me down in the comments below. That'd be really great. But either way, this episode, the task force member, I'm just not even going to say his name anymore because I'm just explaining it all wrong. He explains of how the Underworld was actually made in the first place and what is actually going down. So of course he made the Underworld right here, which of course the Underworld, like at the start of it, they made just a little bit of AIs, like I'm pretty sure like 10 to 15 AIs to kind of build this system. And we all know throughout VR and reality and everything like that, the time skips so quick in reality. Like for example, if it's like 3 weeks into reality, that's like 300 years in a VR world. So it consistently grew and grew and grew until it got to, of course, more people, more of the population. They even put, babies so that these AIs, could actually take care of them, and the population could still grow and to be, kind of a whole new world. Instead of, having real life, you have this one right here. But it got to that point where it was so complicated, it grew so much that the church made the taboo index. We all know about the taboo index already. That is a really strict system in the Underworld. If you do or break any of the rules, you will be forced to death. As we can even see Alice, like literally leaving a finger outside the dark territory, she was caught and potentially killed. And with this, the task force member wants it to be something else. He actually wants the taboo index to be destroyed. He doesn't want it to be it anymore. Just like we even see it in this world, that even if you leave like a piece of garbage on the ground, you're going to get punished for it. So no one in this world ever breaks the rules. Like it's not like with society where we have some legal stuff. Even if you drop garbage or that on the ground, you're not going to get like harmed. You're not going to be sentenced to death for it. But in this world, it is. It's a really strict and kind of a peace system. It's like kind of like what the world wants right now, like kind of peace all around. Like, no one wants to harm anything, and it's kind of what this world is. But on the other hand, he wants the AIs to start to kill each other. That's kind of his objective and their goal, to build a better intelligence, and they need Kirto's help with it, because Kirto has been in the VR world mostly his whole life. We even see from the first season of SAO that he was stuck, I believe, more than 2 years inside a video game. And then of course he did the Gun Gale online, finding Death Gun, playing Aincrad with his buddies online. His whole life is based off, just a VR world. Like, that's kind of what Kirto is, and he knows about this because he's worked with Kirto in the past. So he's the perfect opportunity, and especially a guy that's in a coma right now. Like, he can't move his body, he's completely vulnerable. So this is his chance to get Kirto to help him out, to break the taboo index, and to create this society that he really wants in the Underworld. A big thing that we also got introduced into kind of this Alicization world, or kind of, his plans, is that they have the soul transfer system. We know about the soul transfer system. Kirto talked about it multiple times throughout Alicization so far, that the soul transfer system takes your human soul and kind of connects to your brain, which is called a fluctlight, if I am saying that correctly. And we've seen that in this episode that they could actually copy the human soul, and we saw that with Austin and the rest of the gang, that this member that's working for them, I do believe, copied his soul, and we saw on the projection screen, like, kind of like a test subject, when you looked at it, that he only survived like a minute or whatever, and then afterwards the copy exploded. It's completely gone. So we even see Austin in this episode as well, kind of crying about it, because she's seen AIs and kind of people die in real life. She's exactly like Kirto. Her whole life she's been based off VR. Her whole life she's been in a virtual reality, so she could see that like potentially someone even died right there. And there's also a little bit of a rumor going around as well that since Kirto is at this coma stage, like, he can't move his body, he's completely vulnerable at this point, since Rath took him in and put Kirto in the Underworld. Does that mean that Kirto's soul, is this a copy for him? Like, if he's been there and everything like that before, is this not the Kirto that we know? Is Kirto potentially dead? Because we've seen that, in episode 5, that he was dead for 5 minutes. Like, he had no oxygen, he was, like, not at a state. So is he at a point where he just can't do anything and he's just sleeping? But, I guess a copy of himself is actually in the Underworld. It's completely mind-blowing, and it's kind of something, like, kind of a rumor going around in the SAO community right now that I still want answers to be explored. And I know that a lot of people are really wanting and urging to get back to the Kirto and Igio part, but I believe we should still get more information. Like, I think maybe one more episode will cover it, because they do talk about a lot of the world and what's going on. Because let's be honest right here, when's the next time we're ever going to get episodes like this? Like, probably like in the 30s or 40s. There's 50 episodes of Alicization that we're going to be getting right here, and it's definitely like episodes that we needed, because we have no idea about the story. We got put into the Underworld and Kirto without knowing anything. So it's great information that we got, especially in this world right here right now as well, of what's going to be going down, because we know that Kirto's inside right here. He's working with Igio to go, of course, to the central place to hopefully I guess destroy the taboo index, to find Alice, and to get out of here and hop into the real world. So we even see it a little bit in this episode as well, is that Alice is like the key to this Underworld right here. Her place, as the artificial intelligence, which I'm completely stupid, and I literally just figured this out as well, is that Alicization, kind of a little bit of a point right there. So definitely a huge setup to, of course, the task force member and the people that are working with them to, create this Underworld that they are so-called seeking. So that's going to be, of course, a journey as well. Of course, Kirto and Eugeo, battling out in the Underworld to hopefully get to the church and, destroy them all. I guess the last part to talk about in this episode as well is more with Ringo's character, the love interest that she had with Kayaba. She eventually knew that Kayaba, was doing all this playing around, because when she was with Kayaba while making SAO, her backstory was that she had a bomb inside her, and she couldn't leave, the mountains that she was hiding with Kayaba, but because, of course, everyone in the world was seeking about him. Everyone knew that, he was the person that killed 4,000, 3,000 people. She couldn't leave his side because she had a bomb inside her. If she would have left that building, she would have died. But at the exact same time, we see kind of in this episode that Kayaba was really protecting her as well, because if she ever gets caught, she could be in a whole lot of trouble. And she wanted to kill Kaiba as well for doing all these rational stuff, but she fell in love with him. She loved Kaiba, and that was a lot of her backstory to Ringo, which I can't wait to see more of her character. I think that she's going to be playing a really good and important role throughout this series, and I think it's something that us fans have got to look at her character very important. And of course, we see the nurse from season 2 return as well, looking over Kirto, and that was episodes 5 and 6, guys, of Alicization. And tell me down in the comments below, I probably did forget a lot of stuff in this episode, and just this is definitely a lot of information. That this is something that rarely occurs in anime, that you gotta look at and it's like, okay, we gotta write it down, write it down, write it down. We know that this place is this place, this person's going here. I have no idea, guys. My brain just hurts, but at the exact same time, I'm glad that they give us all this information to know where the story is, how it was built, and what their sole purpose is right now. Because we know Kirito's journey now, it's not just for him to get out of the game, it's also this other part. Is he a clone? I have no idea, but either way, thank you guys so much for watching my episodes 5 and 6 review of Art Online Alicization. I would say for episode 5, guys, I would give it an 8 out of 10, and for this episode right here, guys, I would give it an 8.5. Definitely lovable episodes. I can't wait for more Alicization, guys. Sorry, of course, for being late for last week's, but definitely here now. But either way, much love, guys. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to leave a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys next week for another Art Online Alicization review. Much love, everyone. As always, have yourselves a wonderful day.